Hello and happy 1st of June. This looks like a horrible mess, but you know, it's a process. It's always a process. Whew, I'm out of breath because, see those logs in there? Because they're finally dried enough to burn. I was slamming them on the ground. That's all the debris to break them up, and getting some good exercise doing it. And my niece very smartly, let's just say, you know, you do have an axe. Yes, I do know I have an axe. I do now that she reminded me, but I do know. But I was getting good exercise slamming those thick branches on the ground and busting them up. But I've done great. This wagon was full, overflowing. And I went over here and there's a pile of limbs over here. I brought a big handful of those over. So we've been trying to light a fire in this for months. And because it's been raining so much, it's just been so wet, it would never light. So I thought it's been, a good 7 or 8 days since it's rained, and it has sprinkled yesterday, but not a lot. But I thought, let me try, and I put a little squirt of lighter fluid in there, and poof, kind of scared me. But this is full of water, plus I have water hoses on either side turned on, ready to go. I've also soaked the ground around it, so I'm being very careful. No, fires are not allowed in my neighborhood. We are within the city. I know it doesn't look like it, but we are within the city and fires are not allowed. However, burn pits are. And no, I'm sorry. I misquoted. Not burn pits, fire pits. So if anybody asks, I'm just warming my fingertips in the fire pit, because everybody has fire pits that they warm up and roast marshmallows in. And just like I just told my sister, if anyone has a mouth about this, I'm just going to pull up my Facebook and show. I have messaged the fire department a few times over the last few years asking if this was allowed, and they have never responded. They have seen the message, they have seen it, but they have never replied. But on this 86-degree day, Thursday, June the 1st, yes, I'm just warming up my fingertips, and I got dirt under my fingernails from busting up all those thick branches. Oh goodness. So I'm hoping once it burns down and we've got some coals going, I'm going to put a grill on it, and I'm going to grill my chicken tenders that I thawed out. I was going to do sausage. I told my niece I was going to do sausage, but no, I have to. The sausage is fully cooked. That's fine. It can last another 5 days in the refrigerator. But my chicken tenders I have thawed out. I have to cook them. So once this burns down and I have coals, I'm going to put a grill over that and cook my chicken tenders. And I get the bulk pack because it saves money. It's cheaper, and it's just me, and sometimes my niece eats it. But I can cook this up and have 3 days worth of food. I can have chicken tender sandwiches, chicken tenders dipped in barbecue sauce, chicken tenders with baked beans. Oh my goodness, there is a doggie out there. She got her feelings hurt because Aunt Sarah yelled at her when she got too close to the fire pit. She got her feelings hurt because Aunt Sarah yelled at her. So she's out in the yard sulking. She is really good at that. But it's 86 degrees. It is a beautiful day. I think it might be almost 6 p.m. maybe. Almost 6 p.m. if it's not 6 p.m. already. It's been an okay day. Work was okay. My employer was up north in North Texas for a meeting with a major grocery store chain. And so he was otherwise engaged while I got a lot of work done. You know, first of month, monthly reports, got a lot of stuff done. But you know what I did at the same time? I watched the royal wedding in Jordan. Yes, I had my MicroStrategy on one screen, and on the other screen I had Roya live on YouTube, and I watched it, and it was so good. It was really so good. I just told my sister as she went back over to her house, I said, I really enjoyed watching that royal wedding. I'm so glad I was able to. And I was not, stressed out, trying to not get, trying to not mess up work and not having to deal with multiple phone calls. I was just able to enjoy it. And the new Princess Rajwa of Jordan, she is beautiful. She has a beautiful family. Her wedding dress was gorgeous. I cannot wait for a good close-up look of that tiara. And that was a prediction I was right on. I called it. I said that even though her mother-in-law wore a Dior dress for her wedding, and it had, I don't think it was a sweetheart neckline. It had a neckline. Maybe it was square, wasn't low cut, but it had a neckline. It was not up to her chin. She did wear a jacket over it at her wedding, but even though she did have an exposed neckline, I just felt strongly that this girl from Saudi Arabia, because her mother, every event I saw her mother at, her mother was covered head to toe. I thought she's going to have a very beautiful, modest wedding gown, and she did. It was beautiful. It was by the Lebanese designer Elie Saab. It was a column style dress, and the top from the neck to the waist was ruched. Absolutely stunning. Had an architectural type neckline where it was like skewered off to the side, long sleeves, but that train and that veil, stunning. Beautiful, beautiful. I really enjoyed it. But I cannot wait for a good close-up picture of her tiara, because I predicted that if she wore a Jordanian tiara, I predicted it would be the Arabic script. I just had a feeling, because I thought it was appropriate for someone who was going to be queen. Even though Queen Rania did not wear a tiara. She was a prince. She married, and just like Rajwa today, married into the Jordanian family and became a princess who was to be the future queen. She did not wear a tiara, but I felt strongly that Rajwa would, and she did. And my prediction came true. No, she did not wear the Arabic script tiara. She wore one that her billionaire Saudi father had made for her. And that was the thing I predicted. I even commented it on several commentators' TikToks. I said, her father's a billionaire. He's going to make one. He's going to have one made for her. And he did. And interestingly, if you put it side by side with the Arabic script tiara, they are very similar. Very similar. Rajwa's was maybe half the size, which I thought was perfect. It was appropriate. It was very, very nice. Look how that is burned down nicely. But it was a beautiful ceremony. I was very interested to see Princess Catherine, Prince William. Really surprised to see Beatrice and her husband. But why was I surprised? She's been friends with Crown Prince Hussein for years. She's traveled with him, gone on vacation, I mean. So I don't know why I was surprised. They're friends. I was really surprised with Crown Princess Mary's outfit. At first, I said to somebody, it must have been unremarkable because I can't remember it. And so I went back to see it, and it was beautiful, but I was distracted by her headpiece. It was so unusual for Crown Princess Mary. I don't recall ever seeing her wear her hair down long with part of it swooped up in a big bow, like a little girl. I was so surprised. And interestingly enough, Princess Beatrice had her hair styled exactly the same. Exactly the same. So, I don't know, is it an upcoming trend or something? I don't know. But Crown Princess Mary is stunning. She is a beautiful woman, and she always looks immaculate, and everybody says she has the best curtsies. She does. She sinks down and gives you a curtsy to write home about. Of course, Princess of Wales, she does too. She has beautiful curtsies. The Emeritus King Juan Carlos of Spain and the Emerita Queen Sofia of Spain. If I'm pronouncing that right, that's how they are dressed now, that they are no longer monarch. They have abdicated in favor of their son Philippe and his wife Letizia. They were at the wedding, and they're in their 80s. And Queen Sophia, I thought they goofed by not shielding this elderly woman as she got out of the car. I really think they should have done a better job of not seeing her struggle. I don't think that was intended, but I wish it didn't happen. King Juan Carlos is barely walking. He uses a cane. I saw him at some event in Spain at some cathedral, and he was in a wheelchair there. But he had a cane, and he brought his emotional support dude with him. He had a guy with him that he was leaning on heavily to help him walk. And the guy was carrying with him a seat cushion, probably for the king, for whatever seat he was in. And I thought to myself, oh, bless him. Once he greets King Abdullah and Queen Rania, he has a long walk to his seat, because that wedding reception took place in a building in the garden. I don't know if it's a marquee in the garden or a building in the garden, but they had a long walk, and I was like, oh, bless that man. My most favorite thing of that wedding today was the procession. And I haven't looked at Daily Mail online in a few hours, but the last time I looked, they did not show the most awesome thing that was part of that procession. Rumor was that the bride and groom was going to be in a procession of red Range Rovers, which I thought, that's cool. That's really cool. Well, surprise, surprise, they stepped into a white one. And all the commentators, oh, this is the Range Rover. This is the one from 1984 that Queen Elizabeth was in on her visit to Jordan, and Prince Philip rode in this in 1984. And I was like, It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was immaculate. It looked like it just rolled off the showroom floor. If that was a 40-year-old Range Rover, you got me. You got me. I'm at a loss. They got into that Range Rover. They pulled out into the street, nestled in the center of a bunch of red Range Rovers. As they started to slowly pull away, from the side streets came hundreds of people. They're kind of like Oompa Loompas. At first, I was like, what? They were dressed from head to toe in green, red, and black. Just solid green, solid reds, and they had capes on. And I'm like, something's up. What is this? And they lined up in perfect ranks in front of those Range Rovers. And then as they lined up, they grabbed the cape in front of them and then backed up a few paces. And so what you saw was these long ribbons of color from above. And it hit me immediately. Dag nabbit, they just did a procession, and they arranged the people in the procession to be in the shape of the Jordan flag. And as they went down the street, it was just awesome. On the left and right, the Jordanian flag was everywhere. And you look at it, then you'd look at the procession. I'm like, that is incredible. It was incredible. It was really, really cool. Now, you could only go so far. It was a 6-mile procession from one palace to the next. You could only go so far with a few hundred people walking in front of you. They can only go so far. So as the road turned from 6-lane to 4-lane to 2, whatever, every time there was a turn in the road, suddenly, like, those people were gone, and they were replaced with this, like, battalion of red Range Rovers, and it just looked so sharp. It was just really incredible. And at first, there was not a lot of people, but they were thousands in pockets. Here and there was absolute thousands, and here and there they were absolutely rushing that vehicle. They were trying very hard to get women. They did not care. They were running to get to that vehicle to shake their hand or whatever. There was another point when they turned a corner and was on a smaller road, like a 2-lane road. Suddenly the Range Rovers were gone, and they were surrounded by ranks of police motorcycles, but every one of them had an outrider. It was really, really cool. So sharp looking. Then when they turned down a smaller street getting closer to the palace, suddenly those motorcycles were gone and they were surrounded by Royal Jordanian army. So very cool looking, very sharp looking. Next thing you know, they're gone and they're replaced with the military and ceremonial gear, which was amazing looking, so very sharp. And I think one of my favorite looks, other than the flag that they represented, one of my favorite looks was when they were surrounded by white stallions. Yeah, I said it. You just get on YouTube and look at all these live feeds of this wedding. They really did it good. It was really, really good. Jill Biden was last to arrive. She was first to leave. Left behind whoever she had with her. I don't think it was Finnegan. Somebody was with her. Maybe it was the U.S. ambassador to Jordan. I don't know. There was a woman with her. At first, I thought maybe it was a translator. I don't know. I could go look and read, but let's talk about Queen Maxima. Her dress was beautiful. She had flowing sleeves. Her hair was down, loose, just beautiful. King Wilhelm was there. Their daughter Amalia was there, the crown princess, but she was not at the wedding. There was only 150 guests at the wedding, which was close family and European royalty. But that banquet or that reception had 1,700, so I'm sure she was at that one. I saw snippets of the banquet where they were dancing around the cake. The cake was beautiful. It had these purple flowers, and every time I think about those purple flowers, reminds me of Rajwa's mother, who was in head-to-toe lilac. That she just looked so lovely in that lilac dress. And all these beautiful gowns at this wedding, especially the Middle East royalty, the women, the gowns. Even when I visited, like when I was in Amman once, and I've been to Qatar and Dubai, and I was in Kuwait, and these women, the dresses they wear, they're beautiful. If you were to wear that dress in the U.S., Americans would call it a caftan. They resemble a caftan, but they're very well made, very structured, beautiful fabric, beautiful embroidery, beadwork. So a lot of these, even Princess Catherine, the Princess of Wales, her dress, which was also made by Elie Saab, it was not a caftan, but it was very modest and very appropriate, and you could call it a caftan. But they were stunning. Queen Maxima's was beautiful. Her sleeves were flowing. It was had blues and all that. But anyway, this was a 10-minute talk about the royal wedding in Jordan today, which I enjoyed so much. I'm thinking back of everything I'm forgetting to talk about. The bride wore flats. I'm guessing because she was going to be on her feet a long time, but also she is very statuesque, and her in-laws are not. She towers over everybody. And there was somebody, I think it was Prince William. When Prince William was greeting King Abdullah, I was shocked. He was almost 3 heads taller than King Abdullah. But anyway, I wish she didn't have to wear flats, but it was beautiful. I really enjoyed it. And now I'm enjoying this evening, a little after 6 p.m. Oh, there's Mushmouth. Her long nose up to no good. But I need to trim that around that tree. I need to trim that. I need to trim that on either side of the building. I need to trim that in between those trees, because I'm wanting to pull up that grass in a circle around those 2 trees out there. I want to make a circle around them, pull up the grass and lay gravel, and then put some Adirondack chairs out there. And a swing already. I want a swing out here, not a porch swing, not a chair swing. I want to swing from that tree. Like, I want people to fear that I'm yeeting myself into space. I want a swing. I've been trying for years. Right over here to my left, I even have the makings of a swing, which I could never get anybody out here to throw up in the tree branch. I'm not tall enough to do it. I need to trim all that from there, and I cannot get that off that fence. And by now, I'm thinking it's probably holding the fence up. It probably is holding the fence up. But anyway, I've spoke way too long. I hope no one's offended by my ramblings about the Jordanian wedding from my big mouth here in Mont Belvieu, Texas. I'm I don't know, 6,700 miles away. I should keep my mouth shut. But anyway, I'll say it a million times. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing King Abdullah's uncle and his wife Sarvath. She is beautiful. She is letting her hair grow gray, silver, and it is stunning. Beautiful, beautiful. That guy seems like a really cool guy. I'd like to hang out with him. He seems really cool. Anyway, I'll stop. I won't get into all the Queen North stuff and how I wish she was there, but whatever. We know she couldn't, But anyway, that's all I got to say. I am going to go find my grill to throw in there so I can put my chicken tenderloins on there. I hope y'all have a wonderful Thursday evening. Bye-bye.